This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is August 22nd, 2018, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the economic events of the day, starting out at 2:30 South African time, core retail sales coming out of Canada, and then that's followed with weekly oil inventories numbers coming out of the United States at 4:30 South African time. We'll take a look at oil numbers in just a moment. And then at 8 p.m., FOMC meeting minutes. That's a follow-up to the FOMC rate decision that we had a few weeks ago. So altogether, a few numbers coming out. I did expect that this time of the season and especially of the year would have lighter than usual volume. However, the markets have still been trading quite well, and we'll take a look at a few items just a moment. Just as a disclaimer, we do apologize. The last couple of days we had some issues uploading the video of the daily review, so we do apologize, trying to make it a little bit more interactive. So it's all in the best interest of our clients, so just be aware of that. But let's take a look at the markets and see what's been happening. So just mentioning earlier, there's lots of opportunities in the markets as this week started, and we capitulated last week with this massive sell-off on the Euro USD down to 113.08, and then finally settling there, and then just taking it up on a bunch of short covering about 250 pips above where we sold off. But just be aware, we are closing in on a resistance level. If we take a look on a daily chart, previous resistance level around here. So just be aware of that as we continue to trade. This may actually falter here and correct itself between the 1473. So just be aware that we did have this levels right there. So, but looking across the board, the dollar has gotten weaker, okay? And we're going to jump into the Aussie dollar, where it looks like it's already sold off. Look at that. Right over there, it hit the previous support level, subsequent resistance level, and sure enough, it's selling off right now. So this may be the, catalyst to sell off, a little bit as it retraces from this massive short covering, okay, if you will, or a dead cat bounce possibly, okay. It's a V formation, so it's a little bit more real. So just be aware of that as this continues to trade. So if it does break above the 73.66, we can continue seeing a further correction versus the dollar. Even the GBP bounced again. The GBP has really been very weak. Let's clear out that chart. Okay, this was really the weakest out of all three of them. Okay, also in regards to its bounce, it looks like it's bounced, which it has, but not bounced as sharply as the euro and the GB versus the dollar. So just be aware of that. If this is possibly the first thing, if it does correct itself, to correct itself on the downside. So the dollar getting weaker across the board, as the other major currencies have made corrections versus the dollar. Now, looking at the USD Turkish Lira, we kind of, just flatlined here at 6, okay? Some rhetoric from last Friday, okay? This small or significant spike right here was some rhetoric from, President Trump telling, the premier of Turkey that he's going to increase some sanctions, etc. And then there's a correction to the market, and sure enough, we're just flatlining. So the markets haven't really digested fully what these sanctions and what these extra tariffs on steel and aluminum, it's going to play out in the market. So we're going to have to take a look at that as the market continues to trade here. Now, jumping into gold. All right, now this was really a great play earlier this week, and we mentioned this last week. It was a massive sell-off. My personal target price was 11.85. I corrected it. It was initially 12.30 earlier in the year, and then I revised it, and I thought that we can continue selling off to 11.85, and sure enough, we beat 11.85 and we hit to 11.58. Okay, I just had those two numbers mixed up. In any event, we capitulated down here at 11.58 and we bounced off of it. We look like we're settling down here 11.95, not breaking above 1200. So this actually may be a decent place to look to short it. Okay, so just keep an eye on that as this continues to trade. If the dollar gets a little bit stronger, and we do expect the gold to get a little bit weaker, that might actually play out. Now, jumping into oil, as we mentioned today, we're going to have inventory numbers coming out at 4:30 South African time. We're trading between these two ranges, okay, 66.43 and 64.61. I don't think that we'll be breaking above it, okay, but just if in case we do, the next resistance is at 67.44. Okay, so just be aware that we may sell off at these levels back to the 64.61. So just be aware that they're trying to keep output at a significant level. Now, last week on Thursday, we had a massive day on the Dow Jones. We rallied over 500 points. Now, I mentioned on Friday that I wanted to see some follow through. Sure enough, we got another 100 points. Monday came in, we got another 100 points. Yesterday, we kind of like trickled up, didn't really go above, and as you can see, we hit some resistance and some turbulence right here at 25,795, which was our previous resistance after the debacle in February. So looking at today, you know, I do expect maybe a little bit of a correction on the downside. Let's see if we do get that later today, but that would be my play today, okay? I don't think that we have enough momentum to break it on the upside. You know, the stocks are not breaking out higher, even though, you know, the market is breaking out higher. We see some weakness in the NASDAQ and the high-tech stocks, you know, as they've broken up above. So that's something to keep an eye out, you know, as the day progresses, to see if we do get that sell-off. Might be a really great opportunity. Now, jumping into the NASDAQ, as you can see, we've been trading in a tight range here, okay, relatively. All right, not breaking out higher, but not breaking out lower either. Okay, so relatively, we've just been flatlined here between these two areas, 70 and 74.50-ish level, which is really very, very tight range, okay, especially from the NASDAQ. So nothing really breaking out higher. Now, we mentioned this last week, Apple computers, all right? Now, this was a beautiful trade last week. It was trading up until 210, okay, $210, as you can see. But as the NASDAQ was selling off, Apple did not sell off. That's called relative strength. And sure enough, as the market turned, especially in the Dow last Thursday, Apple just flew, okay? Went from 210 to 219. Okay, that's $9 within a couple of days. That's massive, massive rally, yes, the past couple of days. We've sold off since then, and we're trading at 215. I believe 215 may be a decent support level, so just be aware that we're touching on the moving average right here. So this actually may be a point to pick this up on the upside, but, you know, the markets are not really following through on the upside, so I'd be a little bit cautious about it. It's like a B trade, okay? I wouldn't classify it as a A+ trade, okay? But it may give you that bounce later today, so I'd look for that. Now, looking at Tesla, we followed this with Elon Musk saying that he's going to privatize the company, and the stock rallied all the way to 386, almost its highs, all-time highs, and he said he would privatize the company at $420, that he would buy back the shares. Okay, that's a difference of about $40 from where we were at 380. Now the market's kind of sold off afterwards, okay, and this is what we call fading the news, okay, and I've mentioned this in our Make Me a Trader program. This is a massive correction, and we capitulated down to 287. It's 100 points in less than a week, you know, of trading. Okay, even if you didn't choose the best position to actually trade, your probability of making money on the downside is massive. Okay, so look at this massive correction we got, and even as we've, you know, solidified at 287, which was a previous support level, okay, as you could see before, we bounced off of it. All right, so really tremendous amount of opportunities. We're right here at 321 right now. The question is are we going to continue bouncing? Are we going to correct ourselves back to this 287? I'd follow this through because there's enough volatility, enough volume in it to actually make it something really significant. Now, lastly, jumping into the Bitcoin, we saw this solidify at 5,900-ish level, 6,000 level. Okay, it looked like it was really going to break down on the downside. We got this surprise yesterday. It bounced above 66.25 and looked like it's going to continue rallying. Okay, this almost looks like an upside down head and shoulders. Okay, so keep that in mind as this continues to trade later today, that we may see a bounce, okay, continue on the upside. All right, so lots of opportunities. Just be aware we are still in the summer, in the heat of the summer months, okay, where most of the northern hemisphere is on vacation. However, the markets are still trading. All right, so just make it, you know, just pick your spots and really, you know, cut your stop losses as much as you can and try to make it happen. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.